morning.
I want to watch the news.
Are you making headway at least?
This is the news.
Schmack-a-magob, it's time for the only news that matters. And Michael Anthony Belcher says he never got to reconnect with Eddie Van Halen before his passing in 2020. The two rock stars had a falling out after Eddie replaced Michael and Van Halen with his son Wolfgang Van Halen back in 2006. In an interview with Sally Steele Rock Show, Anthony says he never mended their relationship. He said, "No, unfortunately, Eddie and I never had a chance to really settle any differences that we had in the past or whatever." But he says getting to see Wolfgang and his band Mammoth WVH when they played the House of Blues in Las Vegas helped heal some issues. He said, "I went to the show as a guest, and we talked and we sat down, and there was a lot of closure for me there." Anthony says, noting Wolfgang's mom, Eddie's ex, Valerie Bertinelli, was also there. So it was a great night. Anthony says he and Wolfgang have always been friends, even though Wolfgang replaced him in Van Halen, noting that he doesn't think Wolf really wanted the job. He says Eddie, he wanted to play with his son. The way I kind of feel is that Wolfgang probably wasn't excited really about being in Van Halen. That's why in his band he doesn't play any Van Halen, because he wants to carve out his own niche. But just to be able to get up and play with his father, I can totally understand that. He says, he adds, "But no, I love Wolfgang, man. I hadn't seen him in like 20 years. I went to the show and it was great. We had a great time. It was a great hangout." So there you go. I gotta say, I think Michael Anthony's wrong when he says Wolfgang didn't want to be in Van Halen. Wolfgang's the one that's picking the rare, deep tracks. You know he loves that shit. And I have seen interviews with him when he was younger saying that all he listened to was Van Halen, and there was a couple other things, but he was really fixated on Van Halen. Yeah, sure, he didn't say what version, but you know what version it was. The one that he made do the full bug again, and House of Pain, and, well, not House of Pain, what was that one song? Drop Dead Legs. They never played that before. Dirty Movies, they never played that before. That was Wolfgang, man. Influencing not only his dad, but even getting Diamond Dave behind it, and Alex. But Alex and Eddie were in Vangina, so it really was David Lee Roth he had to convince, and convinced them they did. Now, as far as Michael Anthony Belcher, like saying he didn't reconcile with Eddie, I love Eddie. I'm sad that he's gone. My favorite guitar player of all time. But seriously, Michael Anthony did nothing wrong. They screwed him forever, and it all came to head on the 1984 tour where they're at their height, their biggest. And Eddie, one day, they're all eating backstage or something, and Eddie brings up, you don't do nothing. He said, he goes, Michael Anthony does nothing. You don't contribute anything to the songs. You don't write none of it. So therefore, they took away his portion of the royalties, because his name was on every song up to that point, and then ever since then, he's been a hired hand that paid salary, paid not as much as the other three were making, which he was making all that time. And it's messed up. And then Dave, threw his plate on top of his plate. Michael Anthony just stood up quiet and left. I mean, Michael Anthony, and you can tell, back then, Michael Anthony was the nicest guy. You didn't hear, you can tell that guy didn't have no ego, Every time I saw Van Halen in the 80s, the guy gave 100%. His bass solos sucked though. When he did all those, just little sound effects and rolling around on stage, that shit sucked. And I'm talking about the Dave years. Maybe later he did some stuff during the Vangina years where I wasn't paying attention. But when I saw 1980, 81, 82, and 84 tour, I saw all four of them, and all four bass solos sucked. But when it came to the songs, the music, he was playing with all his might. And for Eddie Van Halen to say Michael Anthony does nothing, okay, he doesn't help write the songs. But would those songs sound that good without Michael Anthony? Those harmonies he would do? You know? I love, Michael Anthony to me is part of the greatest harmony vocals ever. I don't like hearing Michael Anthony sing alone. I don't like it at all. I mean, it sucks in my opinion. But when you mix Eddie's and Dave's voice with Michael, to me it was the greatest background vocals ever. So man, did Michael Anthony ever deserve that 25% because of those harmony vocals. Bass playing too, but bass playing's it's a big mystery. A lot of people don't know if that's him or Eddie Van Halen on some of those records. So there's nothing written anywhere saying Eddie played bass on this song or that song. Or if there is, hey, let me know in the comments below. If there is such a thing as Eddie Van Halen playing on some of those Michael Anthony, David Lee Roth era songs on bass. You know, a lot of people say, fair warning, this and that, but I don't know, man. I haven't seen any solid proof or like any of these Van Halen books. None of it that I know of mentions this. So if you know and you have actual facts and a link, let me know below. I would love to know. And I know that they wanted to get rid of Michael Anthony in 1980. They wanted Billy Sheehan in the band in 1980. I think it was 81. Fair Warning tour. I saw the interview with Billy Sheehan. And they asked him a couple times after that. They were more than ready to get rid of Michael Anthony, even 4 years before, the issue with the songwriting. So Michael Anthony's kind of been, he's been treated poorly, man. And the whole fallout was he went and played with Sammy. And that pissed Eddie off. And whatever pissed Eddie off, it pissed his brother off. So that was the end of that. And then they were like, all right, if you want to come back to the band with Sammy, and we'll do a Vangina reunion in the early 2000s, you have to give up everything. And Michael Anthony was thinking, hey, this is probably the last chance Van Halen will ever play with fans, so yeah, I'll do it. And he lost everything, and it was a shitty tour. I mean, so I was told, because no way I went to that, but I've seen some footage online, and I wish there was footage of the time when Eddie Van Halen kicked Sammy Hagar Belcher in the balls. That was a past news story I brought up. That somebody that opened for Van Halen said he witnessed that. Eddie's kicking Sammy Belcher in the balls. See, that's a show I would have went to. I would have had front row for that. And you read Noel Mugg's book, and it's kind of like, Dave, Alex, and Eddie will always be fighting. They're always fighting. Not Michael. Michael's not part of their fight. But all three of them united together against Michael Anthony. The guy that caused no drama, that did not rock the boat. He did not deserve it. And by him hooking up with Sammy and then, getting married to Sammy, hey, he loves Sammy, man. What the hell, We all can't be perfect. So he didn't like that either, and he took Wolfgang out on the road. And hey, I'm sorry, everybody out there. No, actually, I'm not sorry. I liked Van Halen with Wolfgang. I love A Different Kind of Truth. I love the albums with Michael Moore, but I'm just saying, I loved A Different Kind of Truth. But anyway, that's it for the only news that matters. What do you all think, man? Do you think that Michael Anthony was, unfairly judged after he hooked up with Sammy? Or do you think that Michael Anthony deserves it for hooking up with Sammy? I think the latter. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Ring that little notification bell and like the video, because it's good for the YouTube algorithms. So stay frosty. Listen to Black Sabbath and smack 'em a cob.
Well, and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies.
Farewell and adieu, you ladies of Spain, for we've received orders for to sail back to Boston, and so nevermore shall we see you again.